Welcome to the world, no heroes and villains. Welcome to the war, we've only begun. So pick up your weapon and face it. There's blood on the ground, go and take it. You get one shot to make it out alive. So higher and higher you chase it. It's deep in your bones, go and take it. This is your moment, now is your time. So prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Push through heaven. Rise, rise. They will remember you. Welcome to the climb up, reach for the summit. Visions brave and one false step lead the end. So higher and higher you chase it. It's deep in your blood, go and take it. This is your moment, take to the skies, go. Prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Push through heaven. Rise, rise. They will remember you.
You guys dead?
Nah, we did.
It is you fight among the dead beneath the dirt. Or do you know yet? Or do you want it? And when the giants call to ask you what you're worth, or do you know yet? We don't die. Prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Push through heaven. Rise, rise. They will remember you. Prove yourself and rise, rise. Pick up your weapon and face it.
KDA, should we show them how we do it every day? Let's get it. Kali that girl, Kali go girl, Kali gon' stop, Kali gon' skirt, Kali got a job, Kali go to work. 뜨거워 언제나 don't get burned. 넘쳐 흘러물 than a buffet, 죽여주잖아 like a buffet. 누가 감히 on my hotbed, 그 문 열지 마 that's a rock day. Don't give any more cause I'm greater than. 필요 없는 시험들 다 뿐이미. But all of my numbers are talking back. 부루마법 메시지 monopoly. 눈종이 돈이나 real money 필요 없대. 너네들이 만든 돈들 go get it, go get it, go get it. 더 미션 눈을 못대 못해 그래 너도 get it cause I got it different. All I'll ever know is life upon the throne. 시작하면 끝을 보는 거야. You want more? No, I got it so deep down. You look like you could use some more. No, I got it, never running low. Yeah, I got more than enough, and it up and 这一路上的奇迹都记住了你的每一个瞬间，无比的耀眼。I know you want some more， 准备好就一起走 ，Giving it all more。Now I gotta talk to you, girl. You look like you could use some more. Now I got it, never running low. Yeah, I got more than enough, got it up and away. You know I got it like boom boom, blow your mind. Never get a rest, and it's how it'll stay. You know I got it like all day, all the time. As a child, you would wait and watch from far away. But you always knew that you'd be the one that would while they all play. And you'd lay awake at night and scheme of all the things that you would change, but it was just a dream. From dust.
Welcome, Camelback fans, to our first round of playoffs. I am Coach Corrigan, and with me I have Martin. Martin, how are you? I think he's here. Oh, I realized I was muted on our Discord channel. Hey, Martin, how are you? All right, he'll be joining us shortly. So thank you so much for joining us today as our League of Legends Spartan team goes against Highley High School. Both the teams have just loaded into our lobby for the game. So we will bring this up right now. For those that don't know, League of Legends, we start with a pick and ban scenario. Both teams get to ban certain champions, while at the same time they take turns picking champions. All right, so looking so far on the Camelback side, looks like we have banned Yone, Thresh, and Bard, which I believe we are banning the support, and I think a ban on the mid lane, if I remember correctly.
Yes, Yone would be the mid lane, and Thresh and Bard would be support and bottom lane. And it does look like for the other team they did ban Rel and Ash. I don't know who the other person is though.
I think that's Lilia.
Yeah, never seen her before. I don't think so.
Lilia is, I know Isaac, our jungler, he has been playing Lilia in the jungle. So I find that very interesting that they chose to ban Rel and Ash. They are main champions for our bottom lane. But it's just interesting to me that that's who they decided to target a little bit. So on the Camelback side, looks like we have gone and picked Misfortune. I know Sam I Am is sad that Ash was taken, but second best choice there is Misfortune, as looks like we are going to pick Nautilus for Pugman in support.
He does actually really do good for support. Sometimes it's just early on in the game, if anyone watches some of the last streams that we've done for League of Legends, it's not early game that he gets them, but more or less later games that he gets more of the pulls.
Absolutely. I know in practice yesterday he was doing a really great job with Nautilus. So I know that he's been putting some time and is getting ready. It does look like we also are going to have Vigar for our mid lane, which I know Tot Raccoon is probably very happy. He was expecting for Vigar to be banned. So I'm sure he's happy to be on that champion. That Vigar cage can be so annoying to deal with because it stuns you if you touch the edges. So you're either trapped inside without being able to do anything, or you are stunned for what feels like an eternity.
That is true. It does look like they did ban Gangplank, which is our top laner's main, and it is very sad to see that they did ban him. And it does look like the Veigar will be going against that Zed, so that'd be pretty interesting to see.
That is going to be interesting. I do know that Zed can scale like crazy and it can get a little out of control. It does look like Highley has also chosen Viego and Caitlyn. So we know Zed's going to be in the mid lane. Caitlyn will be in the bot lane as ADC. Viego, I want to say he's jungle, but I'm not 100% sure.
Once we load into the game, I'm pretty sure he is jungle because I think I played against him a couple of times.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure he is jungle. They did ban Garen for their last ban. Garen is a top laner.
So it looks like Highley chose to target their last two bans towards our top laner, Nuvasaur. So that's pretty interesting. Looks like Camelback is banning Darius, which is a ban on the top lane. And we also banned Lulu, which is a support. So Camelback definitely taking several bans to try to target that support player just a tiny little bit.
Yeah, it is pretty hard to play against that support sometimes because they can get very tanky and so can top laners.
Yeah, so with support, I do know he is one of their best players on Highley when we were doing our scouting. So definitely support has the ability to create a lot of opportunities for the team and just slow your opponent. A lot of champions have roots or some sort of stuns. Looks like they have gone with Morgana. I know I play Morgana quite a bit and it is fun to use that root. One of her abilities just like stuns you and you are stuck without being able to move for a very, very, very long time. So that will be definitely a challenge for Camelback, and they'll have to be careful to avoid Morgana's roots for sure.
Morgana is very hard to play against. I'm more of an ADC person, and every time I do like a game, I always ban Morgana or someone because it's like Morgana is very powerful, especially her stun. It's annoying.
So I'm not the best of players by any means. I am very, very new. And some of you may know our assistant coach is my husband, and he's been playing League since it first came out. And remember, we played one game against each other. We were on opposite teams. I had Morgana, and he was so frustrated. His team won, but he was so frustrated of how I kept on rooting him with my Morgana. So Morgana can be frustrating, but it'll be fun to see what Camelback's able to do here. Looks like we do have Jax in the top lane. I don't remember everything that Jax does, but so that'll be fun to see. And then Kayn in jungle. I know Isaac has had some really good games with Kayn in the jungle, so that'll be exciting to see.
Yeah, it is fun to see Isaac as Kayn, especially for jungle, because I've played with him a couple of times, and he's played Kayn, and he does some amazing ganks.
Yeah, absolutely. It does look like Highley is going to use Viego in the top lane. And that's what I was thinking. Viego is one of those that can go in multiple places. And they've chosen to go with Diana for jungle, which I find interesting because I don't think I've ever seen Diana in the jungle. I thought she was more of a top laner. So that's...
Diana is supposed to be a top laner, and Vigo's supposed to be the jungle in this situation.
So I wonder if these two have decided to swap with each other. Um, and maybe we'll see Viego in the jungle and Diana in top lane. So that'll be interesting to see as we load into the game. For those that may be new to our stream, League of Legends, the creators Riot created a spectator delay so that those of us that are spectating the game can have a full view of the entire game, both sides of the map, both the red and the blue sides. We get to see where all the champions are, where all the vision is, where all the objectives are. But we are in a 3-minute delay to avoid any sort of cheating. So our teams have loaded in and they have started their gameplay, but we will wait for 2 more minutes before we can join them. But we're very excited that you are here with us. We are first round of playoffs, top 16 teams. We're very excited to have made it. We have a mixture of our team. We have some players that are very, very new to the game, and we have some experienced players. So it's been a fun season to watch. Don't you say, Martin?
Yeah, it's always a fun season, even if you don't make state or any big tournament. Just playing the game like with the team, even if it's like an off season or just not even a season at all. It's just fun just to like get together and just hop on the game and just play.
Absolutely. And it's a little different than going into a game and playing by yourself. If you load into the game, you'll get matched up with 4 other strangers, and you don't get to interact much with them. Obviously you do a little bit in game, but not much. But it's a little different when you can be on comms with somebody, and be able to have conversations and work together as a team. For me, it's always made the game a lot more fun when I can play with people.
The game is a lot more fun, especially when you do play with people, because like you could talk, sometimes you make jokes if it's not competitive. You just say about anything.
Right. And I feel like for me, the pressure's off a little bit because, like I said, I'm not the greatest of players. So I feel like if you're playing with me, I'm not going to carry. So I feel like there's a lot less pressure for me to have a perfect game.
Yeah, I mean, especially since one of your main roles is support. Supports aren't really usually the carry.
Right.
They just basically help out the bottom lane just be the carry, I guess. So
Yep.
there's not really a carry for support unless you chose a different champion and you guys just somehow win.
Exactly. And I think that's why I like support because the pressure is not on me. I don't have to have perfect CS. I just need to protect my ADC and create opportunities for my team.
That is true.
So our timer has come down to 0. We will load in very shortly. So we'll put on some music as our screen loads up and we get into our game and get started with game 1, first round of playoffs.
Welcome to the wild, no heroes and villains. Welcome to the war, we've only begun. So pick up your weapon and face it. There's blood on the ground, go and take it. You get one shot to make it out alive. So higher and higher you chase it.
I think that is the
Weird.
fastest my game has ever loaded in. So that's great. So as it looks, our champions are leaving the fountain right now. It does look like everyone's lining up in our standard 5-point formation. For those that don't know, that's just at every entrance of the jungle, to just make sure that no one's trying to cross that river and try to get a poke or some sort of an invade. Vigar looks like he might be trying to tease a little bit, but still hiding in that bush.
That is true. I mean, he can get a little cocky sometimes. Well, like he knows what he's doing, so I feel like as long as he doesn't put it out too much, he can back it up.
Right, now just like Diana pushed a little bit and put some vision in that river. So again, throughout this game, I know we have quite a few viewers today that may be new to the game or haven't seen some of the games. So we'll try to do our best and explain different parts of it. And if you have questions or you want to cheer on our team, please feel free to use the chat. We're very excited to be here and get this game started.
Yeah, and as you can see, about three teammates of each team are going for either red buff or blue buff. That's what we always like to call them.
Right, so each one of those jungle monsters will give the jungler an extra boost, essentially. So the junglers are a little too weak early game to try to take that monster on their own, so they get support, a little bit of assistance from the bottom lane. But it does look like everyone has gone back to their lanes and they're focusing on their CS. Farming to get gold, taking out the little minions to start leveling up their champions.
That is true, and this is what we call farming or CS, you know. Easiest thing for a laner is bot, support, mid, or top. You'd have minions try to do it. You could also get champions. That's how you get the most CS or gold in this game. But if you're a jungler, if you see it like on the little mini map in the bottom right, sometimes you'll see these like dots on it, and those are monsters for all the junglers that you can CS if you are playing jungle.
Right, so our champions at, the first few levels aren't very strong. So we'll have pretty quiet lanes so far. Just everyone focusing on taking out their minions. Always looking for opportunities to get little pokes, cause a little bit of damage. As you saw, Morgana threw out a spell out at Nautilus, causing a bit of damage, but not anything too significant to start.
Yeah, almost no vision, only because everyone does have awards, but you usually only get one and have to wait for the other one to, I guess, respawn.
Yeah, so Highley went ahead and put a ward in that tri-bush on Camelback's side, which is going to help to prevent any sort of early gank. Highley is number 3 in the state. I think we neglected to mention that part. They are very skilled and very, very talented. So Camelback needs to play safe, especially in the early game, to allow their champions to scale without giving too much to Highley in the early laning phase.
That is true. It does look like there will be a little gank on Diana in this river and top. It's Veigar and Kayn. They did get the first blood, so that was very good, but Veigar is low. Zed does use his flash. Jack's trying to get that Vigo. Veigar does get away. Kayn tries to get that Zed, but just not enough. Oh, and he does.
That was a very good play by Camelback, being able to get first blood and a second kill, allowing Veigar to walk away safely without dying, I think was the best case scenario that we could hope for.
That is true, and it does look like now the CS is off a little bit by at least 400, so that is very good.
Yeah, so Camelback is ahead in gold a little bit, which is exactly where Camelback needs to be. We know that we have to get a good start at the beginning in order to be able to compete against Highley. It looks like we have an engage in the mid lane. Zed and Diana both came in very quickly and took out that Veigar. He did throw out his cage, stunned Diana, but unfortunately, with both of those champions attacking him at once, there wasn't much he could do.
No, there wasn't, and it's sad to see because it is a 2v1. Kayn coming in kind of late, but trying to do the best he can, but just not getting enough damage.
Right, he did cause a little bit of damage for Diana. Not enough to really be able to follow through, but the good thing about early game is that even though Veigar died, his timer is really short right now, so he was able to come back to lane and not really miss out on too much.
That is true. It does look like that Jack is doing a lot of damage to that Vigo up top, so that's very good.
Yeah, Diego is very, very low. Looks like he tried to recall, but was interrupted. So we have to back up a little bit now. bottom lane is doing a really good job holding off Morgana and Caitlyn. They're staying close to their tower, but not really falling behind on CS. Miss Fortune is a little bit behind, but not anything too significant. So both Pugman and Semi-Am are doing a good job to hold their own against that bot lane.
That is true. I mean, even though that Morgana even only has like 2 points for CSing, she is a support, so it's not that much big of a deal. Even though everyone wants to have gold, everyone wants to have items, but
yeah, the support items are very different. They're not as expensive. Support doesn't need as much gold as the ADC. That's why support, they don't hit the minions. Nautilus is one of those special ones that he has an item that will actually help both of them, so he does have to hit them every once in a while. And it does look like Camelback is going for the first dragon. It's going to be a little bit contested by Highley, but hopefully...
Kane did get the dragon. That was a good first dragon.
Definitely.
Our support did die by that Zed. Kane trying to get away, but Zed did end up catching him. So that does give the other team 4 kills.
And right before Camelback Dragon, it does look like Miss Fortune went down as well. So it is unfortunate that both Miss Fortune and Nautilus died for that dragon, but hopefully having that dragon is something that Camelback can capitalize on later on in the game.
That is true.
So having dragons, obviously it helps you in your gold and in your experience. But later on in the game, if you get 3 or 4 or more dragons, it actually comes with extra boosts for your team. So it does help to get those early dragons because they are a little bit easier to get.
That is true. I mean, dragons are very important, especially once you get that 4th dragon, it really does give you that buff. Or if you get Baron or the other monster, it just everything in all helps you out. As long as you really know what you're doing and just how to play the game, you know, you can go from level 1 to maybe level 3 in seconds. Everything's still a little bit quiet. It does look like more vision around the map, so that is very good coming from both teams. Jax is doing a lot of damage that we go up top, so that is very good.
Definitely. But, you know, something to note is that even though he is causing quite a bit of damage, he is staying even with him as far as levels. Jax is a little bit behind on the CS, but the fact that he's still able to fight him and cause some damage is definitely a good sign for the top lane. They're pretty... well matched, so I think that's going to be a fun exchange to keep watching throughout the game.
That is true.
Looks like the bot lane is working on putting out a little bit more vision. They have their tri-bush. There's double vision in that river bush. Both Highley and Camelback have vision in there. Interesting with those, you can't always see those wards. So Camelback can't see the red wards unless they use a special item called an Oracle, which right now no one on Camelback's side has right now. But they still put in their own vision just to try to help themselves out. We have.
It looks like the King and Jax did try to get away from that Diana and Vigo. They did, so it was very good.
Yeah, they hadn't engaged, but unfortunately both Kane and Jax were just a little too low to be able to follow through with that. So it looks like Jax had to recall and is going to use his teleport to get back to lane quickly. And Kane also recalled, but looks like he's headed towards bot lane.
Does look like everyone is doing very good. Everyone's just a little bit close, a little bit far in CS, so that is going pretty good. Does look like everyone is staying close on levels. So that's really good on everyone's part. But for the jungles, Kane is about 2 levels behind that Diana, so that really just does suck. So is that Vigo, but only like 1 level, so that's very good. And both of the bottoms are just staying even, so I'm pretty sure this game is going to be interesting the more it goes into this game. So more and farther we get into this game, and the stronger all the champions get, the better you'll see how much better this game can get.
Right. We have a little mini engage in river. Everyone walked away. It looks like Vigar had to use flash to get out of that engage from Zed, but it was able to walk away healthy. Jax and Viego are just kind of going back and forth. Diana is there at tops, which forced Jax to back off a little bit. Looks like Highley is going to go for Rift Herald, which I believe is going to be uncontested. So Rift Herald, where Highley is right now. Let me see if I can get the camera over there. This monster, when you kill him and you pick him up, you are able to then use them in another lane to take out a tower. So having Rift Herald can be very, very helpful to just give you that extra boost in one of the lanes.
It does in fact work very well, especially if you want to take out that one turret that's about half health. If you spawn it far enough, it can charge up the turret, so that does do a lot of damage, then continue to attack it.
Yep. It does look like the second dragon has spawned. Camelback has some vision in the dragon pit, and it looks like both bot lane champs are recalling, so they might be getting ready to do dragon. So it'll be interesting to see if Highley tries to set up to take that dragon as well.
That is very good, especially you want the dragons because they do give you a buff like almost everything else does in this game, so that's very good on their part.
Yeah, it does look like Highley is at that dragon right now, and they have taken the second dragon.
Turret plating will soon fall.
It does look like that Kane did end up going.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Morgana was able to put a shield on Diana, so Kane did not cause any sort of damage.
Did use her ult.
Oh, did she use
Trying
her
to
ult
save
as well?
that Kane. Did not look like it worked. Yes, so did Zed. So that was very hard to do.
That makes sense. So they did use Rift Herald in the mid lane. It kind of looks like it might get a second charge. No, it did not.
Does look like they will be taking that mid lane turret. This is very good.
Yeah, so they were able to take in. They also were able to cause some damage on that second turret. Now they are kind of heading back to lane. We have a bit of an engage in top lane, potentially.
Yeah, just a little bit, but both of them are just kind of going at each other's necks because they're trying to stay as close as they can to the other person, so then they will all have probably more CS or just more kills in general.
Kane and Vigar did just get there, so I'm curious to see if we will have an engage or if everyone's just gonna back off a little bit.
That is true. Jax is taking quite a bit of damage from that Vigo, but Kane is there, so let's look like he will back off.
So it looks like Zed took out the turret in the mid lane, the second one. So that little bit of an engage where Vigar and Kane went up top just created a situation where mid lane was open for Zed to be able to move in. So now they have to do a little bit of extra defending. They still have the turret and the inhibitor protecting Camelback's inner base. But that Vigar is going to really have to stay in lane and be a little bit more careful with that.
Yes, that is true. And this game requires all skill and not just based on levels on the items. So even if they are a higher opponent, Camelback still does have a chance of beating this game because it doesn't matter who you are. Once one or two other people on the other team is fed, it is very hard to come back from that.
Right. Camelback has done a really good job of not feeding. When we look at Highley, you know, we don't have anyone that just has a ton of kills. I think across the board, you know, I think the most that we see is 2 kills on 3 of the champions. The fact that Diego has not been able to get a kill at all, I think really speaks to the great job that Jax is doing in that top lane. And same with the ADC. It looks like the ADC just now got a kill on Nautilus. So Camelback's doing a really good job at holding off an opponent that, you know, on paper is significantly higher level than our team, but they are doing a good job of holding them off. Unfortunately, just Highley did a good job of playing safe in the early game as well. They did not give up too much in that early game, so now we're starting to see a little bit more separation. Highley is almost 10,000 gold ahead of Camelback. It's still possible to come back from it. But Camelback's going to have to play very, very safely as many more of their champions are starting to get ahead in levels and ahead in gold.
Yeah, it does look like that Kane did just go out right near that red buff. Big are trying to go and trying to get that kill, but just leaves Morgana.
Yeah, because Caitlyn was there, they did chunk down Morgana to half-life. But that was really smart by Camelback, just causing a little bit of damage but knowing when to back off. Unfortunately, that Vigar gets caught out a little bit, trying to get something out of it, but unfortunately, Caitlyn gets the kill for that.
It looked like that Jax was also there. That Vigo also did come in, just both from top lane. That Jax does go and get that Vigo. Jax is very low, trying to get the second kill and does get it on that Caitlyn. Trying to go for Morgana, but he does die. Nautilus was there, Misfortune just trying to come in at the rear end, just trying to help as much as she can.
Yeah, so I wasn't even paying attention to our timers. It does look like the 3rd dragon has spawned, and that's what Camelback was starting to set up for. So it does look like Highley has 2 of their champions down. We have Jax that still has 13 seconds to spawn. Both teams do have their jungler, so it's going to be a matter of fighting it out.
And I think that was it right there. Just a triple kill on Nautilus, Misfortune, and our Kane jungler. So I think that was a fight right there.
Yeah, so Highley is going to be able to take this dragon uncontested. Because our jungler is down for another 10 seconds, by the time that he spawns, they will have already taken the 2nd dragon.
That is true. It does look like that Zed can do a lot of damage. So that is very good on his part because that Zed can do so much. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, and Zed is the one that's scaling the most right now. He does have 6 kills. Definitely not the champion you want the kills on. For Camelback, I know our assistant coach, he plays Zed, and it's scary playing against him when he's Zed because he gets super fed. And then you can't kill him. Like, there's nothing you can do to take him out. So I hope that doesn't happen here. But Zed is definitely doing a really good job on Highley's side. He did just buy Oracle Lens, which is going to allow him to see Camelback's vision. Camelback has been so focused on trying to get some fights. As we look at the mini-map, there's a lot of red on that map. You can see Nautilus right now trying to clear out Highley's vision throughout the jungle, but unfortunately is caught out by both Diego, Morgana, and Caitlyn were all right there. It just creates a little bit of a difficult situation for him there. It looks like Highley has headed over towards Baron. Baron's probably the hardest monster to take out. Honestly, it does take pretty much your entire team to take him out, because he does cause a lot of damage and takes a lot of damage, but he gives you a huge buff. So you can see the champions have a purple swirl underneath them. As they get closer to their minions, you'll see the minions will also get the buff. which that buff allows them to take out towers a lot faster and increases their ability to cause damage in those towers. So we'll see what Highley is able to do. That buff does not stay forever. It will wear out. So let's see what Highley is able to do.
It does look like Camelback is falling behind, so that does kind of suck on their part. But you know, you play how you play. You can't really do anything about it. You're just trying the best as much as you can.
Right. I think you know, especially in that early game. Right now, Camelback's just in a situation where they did everything they could early game. They tried to look for those opportunities to take advantage. Unfortunately, right now, most of their champions are very low. When we look at across the levels, Morgana's ahead by 1, Caitlyn's ahead by 2. The other ones are currently dead, so I can't see their levels.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
And it looks like they have taken out the third turret in the mid lane and going for the inhibitor. Looks like Zed is ahead by 3 levels. Diana's ahead by 5 levels. So just being ahead in levels, not only the champions are stronger, they've been able to get more gold, which also means they have more items, which also makes them stronger. So it does come a point, Camelback held their own as long as they could, and now it's all about just defending their base.
It does look like there will be a huge team fight here for both of the teams, so depending on how Camelback does play this could be a really bad spot for them.
Yeah, it looks like Highley's holding off. They're not really engaging just yet. Until just now, as I say something. It does look like Viego goes down, and so does Diana.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
And my game froze. Martin, did your game freeze?
Yes, it did, but it did look like the other team was taking down the last turret.
Unfortunately, as some of you may know, for some reason, our spectator game from time to time will just freeze right before the game is supposed to end. Not really sure why it does it, but it does. But we can gather from what we see here in our last frame that Highley was able to take out those 2 turrets and take out the Nexus, which means game 1 goes to Highley. So bear with us. We will reset. Our series today is best of 3, so our teams will get ready to go into game 2 and get ready to start the next game. We'll be back soon.
Reach for the summit. Visions brave and one false step lead the end. So higher and higher you chase it. It's deep in your blood, go and take it. This is your moment. Take to the skies, go. Prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you.
Should we show them how we do it every day? Kali that girl, Kali go girl, Kali gon' stop, Kali gon' skirt, Kali got a job, Kali go to work. 뜨거워 언제나 don't get burned. 넘쳐 흘러물 than a buffet, 죽여주잖아 like a buffet. 누가 감히 on my outfit? 그 문 열지 마, that's a rough day. Don't give any more cause I'm greater than. 필요 없는 시험들 다 뿐이미. But all of my numbers are talking back. 부루마법 message monopoly. 눈종이 돈이나 real money 필요 없대. 너네들이 만든 돈들 go get it, go get it, go get it. 더 미션 눈을 못 떼, 못 뜨 그래 너도 get it cause I got it different. All I'll ever know is life upon the throne. 시작하면 끝을 보는 거야. You want more? No, I got it so deep down. You look like you could use some more. No, I got it, never running low. Yeah, I got more than enough, set it up in a way. You know I got it like bum bum, blow your mind. Never giving less, and that's how it'll stay. You know I got it like all day, all the time. When I go, it's for thought. Get it cool, but I'm cold. I don't fit in a mold. I'm a rebel. I don't do what you say. Licking moves, I don't wait while I smile in your face. I got different DNA. What's higher than the top? That's me. Come take a look before falling on my feet. 조용히 몸을 숙여봐. So take a look, 나를 기억해, queen. All I'll ever know is life upon the throne. 시작하면 끝을 보는 거야. You want more? No, I got it so deep down. You look like you could use some more. No, I got it, never running low. Yeah, I got more than enough, set it up in a way. You know I got it like bum bum, blow your mind. Never giving less, and that's how it'll stay. You know I got it like all day, all the time. Way out，感觉犹如海浪的way now，不断往前，oh you never way down。This is how I do it every day。Wow wow，这一路上的奇迹都记住了你的每一个瞬间，无比的耀眼。I know you want some more，准备好就一起走，giving it all。No, I got it so deep down. You look like you could use some more. No, I got it, never running low. Yeah, I got more than enough, set it up in a way. You know I got it like bum bum, blow your mind. Never giving less, and that's how it'll stay. You know I got it like all day, all the time.
All right, and we are back. Whoops. All right, so both our teams are in the pick and ban stage. So it does look like Highley has started off by continuing with their bans on the bot lane. They have banned Rel and Ashe. And Camelback starts off by banning Diana and Zed from the last game. My fellow commentator had to walk away for a minute, but we will continue with this. It looks like we did
I
ban.
am back.
Oh, there you are. Hi.
Hello.
So Highley did ban Lilia, and we did ban Yone. It looks like Highley is trying to pick their support now, and they have gone with Bard.
It does look like they will be playing Bard. I never really seen anyone play Bard, so that's gonna be pretty interesting.
Yeah, the only thing that I know is that he has these like little, I I call them like slime things. They're not slime, but there's like these little pieces of him that like he drops and he has to go pick them up and it, like makes him more powerful or something like that. It's the only thing I remember about Bard.
He does have like this little portal. You know how Kane does
Yeah.
with his jungle? He also
Mhm.
has that too. I don't really know anything else too much about him.
He does
But it
have
does
a
look like
portal.
we did pick Nautilus as a supporting it and Tristana as our ADC.
That's very interesting that he chose Tristana. So that'll be a fun game to watch in the bot lane. It does look like Highley has chosen Caitlyn again to be ADC. And is that Katarina?
That is
It
Katarina.
is
In fact,
Katarina.
Katarina is, I'm pretty sure, that mid laner, so that'll be pretty nice to see. Looks
Yeah.
like we will be picking Veigar as our mid laner once again.
Yep, so it looks like both teams have chosen to stay with one of the same champions. Oh, we have two. We have Nautilus and Veigar. That will be the same from the last game. So we have 2 more bans coming out from each team. So it'll be interesting to see who each team decides to ban. Looks like we both have just our jungle and top left to pick. And we ban Garen. It makes sense for Highley to ban Gangplank. I know our top laner has some crazy games on Gangplank, so it kind of makes sense there.
We did end up banning Garen, so that was a good one. Gangplank, it's always going to be banned from now on, so I don't think our top laner will ever be able to play him. It looked like they did ban Echo. Echo was their jungle for last game. So.
They had Diana last game. But
Oh yeah,
Echo
they had
is
the
the
henna.
jungle.
I was like, because I just played a game and Echo was the jungle. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's Echo.
Echo is a popular jungler. So let's see, and it looks like they banned Malphite, which is another top lane champion.
Malphite is a pretty easy to person use. Even if you lose lane, you can just use your ult and just dive right in and just knock everyone up. It looks like we did get Darius though, so that's really good. Darius is a tanky person, and his passive is so great.
Yeah, so that's gonna be for our top lane. So I'm curious to see what they're gonna choose for their bottom lane. So that's interesting that they have Aurelia. I thought Aurelia was a mid laner. Is she a top laner?
I think she might be the top laner, but depending on who this last person picks, it can kind of switch things around.
It's true. Oh, and
And it is
Nocturne as a
Nocturne.
jungler.
So it does look like Aurelia and Bard, no, Caitlyn and Bard are bottom. Katarina is mid. Nocturne is a jungle, and yeah, there we go.
Nocturne, I know the most frustrating part about playing against a Nocturne, I believe it's his ultimate, but it removes all vision from the entire map. So like you can't see anything, your mini map goes dark. So that's challenging. And it does look like our jungle is going to go with Olaf. So definitely some potential for some tankiness on Camelback's side. So that'll be exciting to see what they're able to do against this Highley team.
That is true. And if I say this right, Olaf, Darius, and Nautilus can all be very tanky, while Veigar and Justina just shoot them or trap them from behind all 3 of those people.
Right, exactly. So definitely a good selection here. Now it's just up to Camelback to execute their abilities correctly. Still have a start of the game like they did last time, playing safe. They got first blood, looked for those safe opportunities to get some of those points, to get some of those kills without getting in dangerous situations. So I'm excited to see how Camelback's able to adjust from the previous game.
That is true. I would like to see in the team fight just everyone go at it because the other team doesn't really have anyone tanking besides that Bard. So I would love
Yeah.
to see if he could just 1v3 all of them.
That'd be great. And I'm not even sure how tanky Bard can get. Granted, I haven't played much against him and I've never played him. Um, so that will be interesting. It also depends on how they decide to build. Obviously, Highley has some very experienced players. When you play League of Legends, the game automatically gives you a pre-populated list of what items to buy. They're the recommended items. But experienced players, because they understand their champions, they understand their opponent's champions, and they understand the items, they oftentimes will deviate from the recommended to adjust for whatever their team needs. So that's definitely an advantage that an experienced player will have against a new player, is that they're able to adjust a lot more by how they buy their items and how they place them.
That is true. Especially against experienced players. I'm pretty sure for the other team, there's about everyone's over 150, and I'm pretty sure two or three people are above 300 for the other team.
Yeah, I do know that
So they
Highley
have
has three plat players, so they're platinum. League of Legends ranks by bronze, silver, gold. Um, is it plat and then diamond?
yes.
Okay. So Higley does have three platinum players, so that's pretty high up there. Um, so that's definitely a lot more experience on the Higley side. So it will be interesting to see how Camelback adjusts and goes out there and plays the best game that they can play. So we're just under a minute left in our spectator delay. So we'll put some more music on and wait for our game to load, and we'll be right back.
From far away, you always knew that you'd be the one that would while they all play, and you'd lay awake at night and scheme of all the things that you would change, but it was just a dream. From the
All right, and we are back. Looks like both our teams have loaded into the map.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Everyone kind of starting in the usual
30 seconds
places.
until minions spawn.
Looks like Vigar and Katarina just letting their teammates know, hey, they're here.
That is true. And it does look like that Olaf is gonna try to be getting a red buff. So that's very good.
Yeah, Nocturne did get a little farther and put a ward close to that red buff, and it looks like Olaf just put a ward down. Is headed down towards blue buff, where Tristana and Nautilus are there to assist.
And everything does start off. Minions are just attacking each other. All the jungles did spawn, so that's very good.
Yeah, so I think everyone just chose to start with the standard, and then just back to their lanes, focusing on their CS for this first few minutes of the game.
Nothing too bad starting off. No ganks early on, but also like both the junglers are just trying to CS as much as they can. Does look like everything is quiet. Not too many wards besides the first one that Nocturne did place by that red buff. Does look like it just did respawn, despawn, but there shall always be more.
Yeah, it looks like Highley starting to put out a little bit more vision. Aurelia put one in their tri-bush up top. And I think it was Caitlyn that put one in the river bush for Highley. Also in their lane, Nautilus was hanging out in that bush for a little while. When you stand in a bush, the other team can't see you unless you put a ward there. So that was very smart by Highley to help prevent some hooks from Nautilus. And we have an engage in top lane.
So it looked like that Darius is doing a lot of damage, especially with his passive going on. And there we go. First blood does go to that Darius. His passive did help him out a lot. That's why you saw that dragon symbol above her head. So it does bleed out more of the enemy team. So that was very good on his part. Yeah. He even has an ability for it that does help him out. Also his Q, when you see his axe spin all around, if you're closer in, it does help that out too. If you're at the edge, it does more damage. So he probably won that either way, and probably will if it just happens to be more of that 1v1 in top lane.
Yeah, that was very well done. He did have to recall because he was very low in life. It does look like that Caitlyn got some hits on Tristana that she had to bounce away. But it's one of Tristana's abilities, so she didn't have to use flash, she didn't have to use anything to get away. Her summoner spells are still good to go.
That is true, but then again, Tristana can also use that ability to jump on someone when that Alice does go in, because it does do a little bit of damage. So it's kind of risky, but then again too, you got to be kind of aggressive to make that play.
And just like Bard has traveled up to mid lane, leaving Caitlyn alone in the bot lane. Camelback causing a lot of damage for Caitlyn. She is able to walk away from that. Tristana took a little bit of damage as well. But that was a really good engage by Camelback while Bard was away.
So it looked like Tristana did get away using that same tactic once again.
Yeah, so that was really good. Again, she did not have to use any of her summoner spells. Bard tried to use his teleport, not teleport, like the portal that he has. But Tristana was able to jump out of the way very quickly.
It is very good that Tristana kind of times that too, because it does take 1 second to use for the spell that she does have. Does look like they are going for first drag too, and they have gotten it.
Yeah, so Highley did not waste any time, went straight for that first dragon and got it. Trying to see, it looks like Olaf was recalling at that moment. So they were able to time it just right. Does look like Darius. Wow, that was great.
Darius played that very smart, and he did end up getting that kill.
That was fantastic.
Surviving.
So when you attack the enemy champion under their tower, their tower will attack you. If you're under their tower without your minions, their tower will attack you. Darius was really smart and knew that the tower was going to keep hitting that Aurelia, and just got far enough. He was so low in life, but just got far enough to where she wasn't going to be able to reach him, but the tower could reach her, which was able to give him the kill.
It was very good on his part, especially since his passive was kind of there too, doing that little bit of damage that it did.
Right.
So that was very smart on his part.
Exactly. He was able to clear the minion wave, get all that experience in CS, and then being able to get out of there to get healthy, and get back to lane without missing out on much.
That is true. He doesn't go back, get to lane with a spawn of new minions. Olaf does look like he is up there. Gonna try to wait for that gank or try to go CS on some of the other animals.
Right, looks like he is putting some vision on that Rift Herald pit. It's not quite ready to spawn yet. Looks like it'll be spawning in about 30 seconds. And we have another engage in top lane.
It looked like he did try to get that kill, but she just stunned him, so that was a good part. And yeah, he's just really trying to get that kill because he knows that he's more tanky than her, and especially with that passive, it helps a lot. Here we go again. He will try to do something about it, maybe even pull her in.
Yep, and Olaf is there to try to assist.
Darius does end up dying, but Olaf does get that kill with the assist of Darius.
So that ends up being a relatively good play for Camelback. Olaf was able to stay and able to get a little bit of that experience after Aurelia did go down.
It looked like that Veigar is trying to catch that Katarina off guard, but he has very low mana, so it's gonna be really hard to do anything.
He does, and Camelback needs to be careful. Highley has a ton of vision in that river, so it's going to be really hard for anyone to sneak up on the mid lane or on the bot lane, because that river is completely lit up by Highley. So all things are pretty quiet as we look across the lanes right now. Nautilus looks like got stunned, had to use
He did have to use the splash, so
right,
that was.
get out of that. Did he have a stopwatch? I thought I saw him use a stopwatch.
I don't think he did.
Huh. Or that might have been a stun that Bard had. I wasn't sure if Bard has a stun or not, but looks like Aurelia's...
He did get stunned, so.
Oh, that's a really good hook on Bard. He hooked him on the tower, so Bard did take a little bit of extra damage, but was able to use his portal to get away.
It was very good on his part because the portals can really come in handy sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like we might get another engage around the river. Dragon is spawning.
And there you go, as you can see, Nocturne using his ultimate, just covering all that vision for them. Alice does die. Both Tristana and Olaf do use a flash, hiding under that tower.
Right, and they're trying to recall as quickly as they can. Bard's still trying to interrupt it, but it looks like they both are going to be able to get away, which is good because they don't give a kill to the enemy team. But Highley's push was able to get them off of Dragon, so that Highley can take the second Dragon without being contested.
It looked like everyone on Camelback did just kind of reset. Camelback is red team, for those of you who don't know, and the other school is blue team.
Good call. I don't think we mentioned that. So the home team gets to pick which side they want to be in for game 1. And then the away team gets to pick which side they want to be in for game 2. Most teams pick blue side because that's the standard side that like you learn how to play is on blue side. So we did swap sides for game 2. So it looks like Nautilus is trying to clear out some vision from the jungle. Even though Dragon is gone, having vision protecting you is good because then that means there's less likely to gank on you.
That does look like they did spawn Rift Herald up and top.
Yeah,
So it does look like the Rift Herald will be doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, I didn't realize Camelback had gotten Rift Herald. I missed that somewhere. But Rift Herald was able to get a hit and was able to get a couple plates, which is very good.
It looked like that Olaf did die. Darius trying to get away. Does use his ult, trying to get his passive up there.
Nocturne went up top to help that Aurelia. Aurelia is very, very low. Nocturne has
So
left,
is that Darius.
Right. So they both need to be careful because they both want to get that CS, but at the same time, don't want to go down.
Shut down.
That looked like they just traded, so that's
Right.
very good on Darius' part because he did pull her in the tower.
Exactly, and that gave Darius the shutdown gold, which I'm sure he needs to be able to catch up on items. Darius is significantly behind on CS, which is going to start making things a little bit more difficult for him. He does... no, Aurelia was able to catch up on kills. So that's where we start to see a little bit of the difference. Just when they have more kills, when they have more CS, that's more gold to have more items. And even though right now everyone seems to be pretty even, top laners are both at level 10, jungle is both at level 8, mid are both at level 10. Bot lane looks like, seeing Tristana spawning just now. Looks like bot lane's only behind by 1 lane, so Camelback's doing a phenomenal job of staying up to Highley's level as far as their champion levels. But when we look at their CS, Highley is significantly ahead in almost every single stage, which is what's creating, what's making things difficult for Camelback right now.
That is true. Does look like that Veigar is missing a lot of his trap spells, so I think that is what's causing him to just fall back behind a little bit. You know, it really is trying to just stay up there with that Katarina.
Camelback was ahead in kills, but just Highley is starting to complete more of their items, which allows them to have a bit more power, potentially more armor, potentially more speed, potentially more mana. So there's a lot of things that items will give you that just Highley's gonna have more right now because they've just been able to get more gold throughout the game.
That is true. It looks like that Veigar is gonna get ganked a little bit by that Bard, so he did take a little bit of damage.
Right, but Veigar is playing very smart, staying under tower and using his cage to protect himself. Because at that point, other champions cannot engage on him because they'll get stunned, and they'll get stunned under tower. So that was a very smart play to stay safe for sure.
That issue does look like someone's trying to get Rift Herald as of right now. It does look like Darius just scare off that person so well, Olaf, so that's very good.
Yeah.
Veigar trying to make it out of there, uses the watch, trying to get under that turret, does not make it though. Bard does come up and help that Katarina and get that Veigar in mid lane.
Right. So it does look like Aurelia was trying to get Rift Herald. Olaf and Darius were able to push him off, but now Bard is up in that top lane, so we'll see what they're able to do.
It was a smart play by Justina and Nautilus to get that Caitlyn when she was by herself, especially since Bard is on the other side of the map. I don't know what he's doing up there, but he's
Very
supposed to be
good
the
timing
support.
by
But
bot lane. They saw Nocturne coming down. Tristana was able to jump away. Nautilus was able to go use his hook. And both get away with almost their entire life. So that was a very good play by bot lane.
another little engage up here in top lane.
And it looks like Highley is clearing vision around Dragon, and they're starting the third Dragon. Unfortunately, Olaf is nowhere near, so I don't think Camelback is going to contest this at all. It looks like maybe he's going to try to go for Rift Herald, but we'll see. Yep.
It look a little quiet. Does look like bottom lane turret did get destroyed.
Alright, so now
Well,
they're
not-
laying down a little bit more vision in that jungle, trying to clear vision put down by Highley. Darius and Olaf are both in top lane. Nocturne has shown up to assist. And unfortunately, Olaf does go down, and Darius gets away, but with just a sliver of life.
That is shoot. So he's trying to run back, but he's chasing.
Yeah, unfortunately, even that Nocturne, he knew he was going to take damage from the tower. Darius was so low, it was a risk that he was willing to take. Looks like Veigar went up top to try to help and caused a little bit of damage for Aurelia, but I don't think anything too much for her to worry about. Bard is there, so Veigar staying close to tower for sure.
The Veigar did try to do some damage, not too much, but does look like he will go down. So will the turret for
Yeah.
top lane.
Aurelia was able to stay inside of the cage, which means she did not get stunned. And she's just a little strong right now, so even taking a tower hit didn't really hurt her much when she took out Veigar.
That's true. Does look like for kills, it's 11-5. Count back, that's the end of having 5 kills. And down by at least 8k.
Yeah, it's about 8,000 gold behind.
So they are behind, but it is sad to see, but yeah, they are.
They're still, putting up a fight, clearing vision wherever they can. Definitely looking for some opportunities. Looks like Nocturne has used his ultimate to go after Darius. And unfortunately, Aurelia is also there.
Darius trying to make a play, trying to get out of there as soon as possible, but just can't get out of there. He does end up going down.
Yeah, and in that situation, they're pretty evenly matched. So when you're going 2v1, that's just going to make a very difficult situation for that Darius.
It looks like about all of Camelback is in mid lane besides the Darius that is respawning in 5 seconds.
Alright, it does look like Highley is over trying to take Baron. Nocturne started Baron by himself, which is causing a lot of damage for him. Luckily, his team has shown up. And they are trying to take out that Baron, but as you can see, it has taken a lot for this Baron to go down.
And they have taken Baron. It looked like everyone on the enemy team did end up resetting. Their ADC is now resetting as well.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what Highley decides to do. The next dragon is spawning in 40 seconds. It does look like they're splitting up a little bit. Caitlyn's staying in the bot lane. Bard is checking vision around dragon. Aurelia heading to top. Katarina heading to mid. So it'll definitely be interesting to see. It looks like Camelback had to put down Baron. I would assume the timer was probably running low on it. But unfortunately it's going to be taken out before it can get any hits on the tower.
It looks like everyone for Camelback is just really still trying to defend as much as they can.
Right, and Aurelia's making a push in top lane, which unfortunately is going to distract Camelback because they have to go defend that top lane. And that allows Highley the time to get their 4th dragon.
It looks like she did get that double kill in top lane on that Veigar and Darius, so that does put Callum behind by 9 kills.
Right, and as we said at the beginning of game 1, getting 3 dragons is great, but getting 4 is even better. You get Soul Dragon, which Elder Dragon, my apologies, where you have an extra buff, which you can see under Highley. They have the purple buff from Baron, and then they have, I believe it's Ocean Soul that they have right now, from the Ocean Dragon, which also gives them an extra boost.
It does look like that Tristana did die by Caitlyn's ult, so that did suck a lot, but it does look like everyone did make it out on the enemy side. So Darius did respond to the Olaf and Veigar, so they are all back.
Yep. We have some engages in their tower. Camelback really trying to defend as best as they can. I think that Veigar got sucked into Bard's portal because he ended up just being just a little bit outside of that, and it was an unsafe situation. It's like Camelback was able to get Bard and trying to get some of the other Highley players.
So it looked like that knowledge will end up going down. Tristana trying to do as much as she can in that top lane.
Oh wow. That
Darius trying to make a little bit of that play, trying to bring him into that fountain. He is very strong.
Yeah, so when you get close to the enemy's like fountain, so like where you respawn, if you get too close, the fountain will attack you. Most champions, it will almost instantaneously kill you. It only took like 2/3 of Nocturne's life. Like it caused a lot of damage, but it did not kill him. That was crazy. So
Yeah,
Camelback
it does
now
take
all together, right?
It does take a lot of that. Yeah, they're all together now, just trying to push off the enemy team. The Baron buff did wear off on the champions, so they don't have the Baron buff anymore. But they do have all 4 dragons. They still do have all of that buff.
Right, looks like Camelback did split up a little bit to try to clear the minion waves, clear some vision. Darius is staying in top lane, trying to stop that wave, while everybody else is hanging out in mid lane.
Does look like Camelback is pushed up against their last turrets.
Right, Nocturne looks like he used his ultimate, was able to get Tristana. And they are now taking out the last inhibitor.
Has been destroyed.
So Camelback just trying to do all that they can to protect and defend their base.
Does look like everyone's having a huge fight in that mid. Vigor does go down, then the Nautilus.
And once again, my game froze. Yay!
Yay!
So that's a little bit frustrating. So we can conclude that Highley probably did take out those towers, as they did take out several of Camelback's champions, and we can see Olaf is less than half life already. Without minions to fight, without champions to fight, it does look like Highley's going to get the win on this second game. So we will go ahead and exit this screen. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today for our first round of playoffs. Obviously not the outcome that we were hoping for, but all in all, I think our team played a phenomenal game against number 3 seeded Highley. Really held up their own and did everything that they could. Really has shown how much these players have grown as a team and as individuals throughout the season. So that is the end of our season for League of Legends, but don't you worry, tomorrow we will have the first round of playoffs for our Rocket League team. We're very excited. Our Rocket League team is number 3 in the state. We will be playing number 14 Red Mountain tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So come back, join us here tomorrow 4 o'clock for the first round top 16 of Rocket League. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.